Hi, I'm Dave Evans.
And I'm Bill Burnett, and we're here to tell you about our book, Designing Your Life. Dave, what's this book all about?
Designing Your Life is a guide to help anyone learn how to think like a designer in order to figure out what life and career it is they really want and how to get it.
Thinking like a designer, which we call design thinking, is an innovation method pioneered here at Stanford that's behind countless Silicon Valley breakthroughs. And now we're bringing it to the idea of designing the life you really want.
Designers approach challenges in a particularly creative way. They begin by first really understanding what it is that's going on, so they can decide what problem it is they're solving. Once they do that, they then generate lots of ideas, and then take the better ideas and find ways to build little experiments to try their ideas out. We call them prototypes. And then from those prototypes, they pick the best ideas that really work for them.
Yeah, it's a very productive approach that's fun and reliably innovative, and perfectly suited to the challenges of life design.
So what do we get in the book, Bill?
You're going to get three things from the book. You're going to get ideas, tools, and a conversation.
Ideas. The first thing we do is help you get rid of bad ideas. We call them dysfunctional beliefs. These are ideas that don't work and that get people stuck.
Then we give you a new idea. We call it a reframe. That gives you a new way of thinking and frees you up to be more creative.
Here's an example. I can't get started because I haven't figured out what it is I really want to do. That's a dysfunctional belief we hear all the time and has lots of people stuck. Our reframe is, you don't need to know what it is you're trying to do. All you need is some curiosity and the willingness to try a few things out. There are lots of actionable tools in the book. Tools to help you bring balance to your life. Tools to help you find the people who can help you. Tools to figure out what really does and doesn't energize you. And tools to make really good choices. Choices that work for you. But the book doesn't stop on the last page. We continue by inviting you into a conversation. How's that work, Bill?
Through our website, you'll be able to interact with other readers who are going through the life design process and asking the same questions you are. And you'll be able to stay in touch with us as we respond to our readers and post new ideas online. Dave, what's different about our book?
There are three key differences, Bill, from anything we've seen. First is, it's proven. We've been developing Designing Your Life for over 15 years. We have taught this to over 2,000 students here at Stanford with great results. And we regularly hear back from our students 3, 5, even 10 years later how effective the process is that they've been using ever since they learned it.
Through our coaching and consulting practices, we've taught this method to 20-somethings and 70-somethings. And in every case, the method has proved effective no matter what life or career situation they're in.
The second unique attribute of our book is it's research validated. 2 separate doctoral research projects at the Stanford Graduate School of Education have confirmed the effectiveness of our method. The research directly shows that people using our life design method to designing their lives will have more ideas, be more creative, are less anxious, and more confident about their ability to craft the life that they choose.
Another important thing about the book is it uses the Stanford Design Thinking method. Now, the Stanford Design Program is over 50 years old, and it is the world's leading program at teaching design thinking to create innovation. And Dave and I have over 40 years of experience teaching in this program, and it's the first time anyone's applied design thinking rigorously to the ideas of designing the life you want.
So, who are some of the different kinds of people we've been able to help? Quite a range. A 42-year-old Navy SEAL we helped figure out wants to go into small business. Or a 34-year-old lawyer who we helped find a way to spend more time with their young children. Then there's the 19-year-old political science student we helped find a way to turn into a software developer.
A 61-year-old retired sales professional used these methods to become an advocate for the homeless. A 50-something human resources executive used our ideas and discovered a career in restaurant design. And a 23-year-old mechanical engineer landed her dream job at Hallmark designing greeting cards, all using the Designing Your Life method. So the restaurant designer, that's an interesting story. Tell me about that.
Well, as you recall, when we first met Edie, she had just been very successful in transitioning from being a human resources person to running her own restaurant.
Yeah, so what's the problem?
She hated it. She had always loved Tuscany and Italian food and had this dream, and she jumped in, quit her job, bought a restaurant, refurbished it, did all this work, started it up, and it worked out great. But she discovered the hard way that the day-to-day life of running a restaurant was something she didn't like at all. She felt really stuck. We were able to help her realize she's not stuck. She's a successful restaurateur. That's really hard. And she's also just learned a lot about who she really is. So she reframed it in a way that allowed her to sell her restaurant and become a restaurant designer. That was the part she really loved. But you know, Bill, couldn't she have done that the first time?
Yeah, if Edie had read our book, she would have done a couple things differently. First of all, she would have networked with lots and lots of people in the restaurant industry and figuring out what she really liked about Italy and the Italian experience. And then she could have run some very simple prototypes. She could have catered with a catering group on the weekends. She could have shadowed a restaurant owner.
Maybe taught an Italian cooking class for a couple of weeks. Lots of little things that aren't very expensive, and you don't have to quit your day job to try them. So, dysfunctional beliefs, that's a big idea in the book. Bill, what's a dysfunctional belief?
Well, a dysfunctional belief is an idea that's popular, it's false, and it can be quite debilitating. So it's really important not to get stuck on dysfunctional beliefs. Here's a couple of examples. I'm supposed to be following my passion, but I don't know what my passion is.
And we think that's crazy.
Yeah, because it turns out life is about living into your next best idea. You're going to discover your passion by working into it. It's not a starting point. It's an end place. It's where you end up.
That's a better reframe. Here's another one we hear all the time. I applied to everything and I still didn't get a job. I'm screwed.
Well, that's a really dysfunctional belief because if you applied to everything, you only applied to 20%. It turns out that only 20% of the jobs are listed, so you left 4 out of 5 on the table, Dave.
Whoa.
Now, it turns also that the best way to find a job isn't to apply asking for jobs. The best way is to have conversations with people asking for their stories.
And that turns out to be an incredibly effective technique. And the book will tell you why it works and exactly how to do it. So, is designing your life really for everybody?
Yes, and we find that most people who want help designing their life really fall into one of 3 situations. They're in their 20s and they're just starting out in their career and they don't know where to start.
Or people between about 30 and 50 who are in the middle of a career and a life and they're really wondering if and how it's time to make a change or not.
And then people in their 60s or in what people call encore careers who are looking for the next thing to do, something meaningful.
What's that thing that's going to be after the thing I've already been doing for 10, 20, or 30 years? What's that going to be?
So they're all asking really the same question. What do I want to do with the rest of my life and how do I get there? And our life design methodology works for all of them. So what kind of response are we getting for the Designing Your Life program outside of Stanford?
Well, we just ran a series of pilot workshops at Google with a whole group of middle managers. People flew in from all over the world just to get a chance to spend one day learning how to design their lives, and it went great.
We just ran a workshop for retired entrepreneurs and company executives, and they found the workshop energizing and incredibly helpful at figuring out what comes next for them.
One of our colleagues is taking Designing Your Life into the community college system and having great results working with people who do not have professional degrees and are still crafting successful career strategies even during a recession. And Designing Your Life is exploding at Stanford. Our methodology right now is being used in a brand new career design methodology employed by the Graduate School of Business for all new incoming MBA students. And the medical school is working with us developing a new program for their students. And we're partnering with the Career Center of the university and the head of both undergraduate education and graduate education to find ways that they can help all the students at Stanford design their lives. And you know, it's not just the students on campus right now.
No, the alumni want it too. And in fact, the Alumni Association has agreed to send Dave and I to over a dozen major cities around the country in the next year to respond to the huge interest from 250,000 members of the Alumni Association who want to learn about designing your life. We're also in dialogue with other universities about designing your life. Places like Dartmouth, Northwestern, Wake Forest, they all want this curriculum.
You know, even Teach for America is called. Everybody seems to want to get in on how do I design my life. We've been thrilled at the world-class professionals and thought leaders who have been volunteering to join our team and help make Designing Your Life a success.
Yeah, Deb Stern, who's one of the most renowned publicists in Silicon Valley, has volunteered to help us publicize the book. And Savannah Peterson, who's just named one of the top 30 under 30 by Forbes magazine, will be running our social media strategy.
And Dan Pink, the very successful business author, is just waiting, saying, guys, let me know, and I want to get out to my 93,000 newsletter subscribers all the information about designing your life. I've been managing innovation for over 30 years in Silicon Valley. Got to do a lot of things, including leading the teams that brought out the original computer mouse and laser printing for Apple Computer, and I was a co-founder of the entertainment giant Electronic Arts.
I've been an entrepreneur and a designer. I started my career at Kenner designing Star Wars toys. Really happy to see the new movie, by the way. I was 7 years at Apple doing the very first Apple PowerBooks, and for the last 10 years I've been the executive director of the design program at Stanford in the #1 ranked engineering school in the country.
We often get asked, where did the idea for the book come from? Well, starting a long time ago in our 20s and 30s, both Bill and I got lousy help on these issues. We got bad counsel and we didn't know what to do. We knew there had to be a better way. So when we met 9 years ago, we instantly agreed to work on this problem, and the first thing we did was we designed a course called Designing Your Life for our students. And then, from that course, we've written the book, Designing Your Life, so that everybody can do this.
So we really want to thank you for partnering with us on this book to make it a success. It's a real mission for Dave and I to help people using design thinking to design their lives.
Thanks.